Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of The Solar Journey. Our guest today is Ndiarka Mbodji, the founder and managing director of Kowry Energy Services. Welcome, Ndiarka.
Thank you, Thorsten. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we get started, I would like to introduce Ndiarka with a few spotlights on her past. So she holds a degree in chemistry and business management. And she worked for 7 years in the automotive industry, where she held several operational roles in supply chain management. And then she joined the big brand Rolls-Royce Group, where she has gained more experience in the areas of supply chain, operational excellence, engineering, and customer business. And since 2021, she's the CEO and founder at Kowry Energy. That's a company providing affordable and sustainable energy solutions to the sub-Saharan Africa. Again, welcome, Ndiarka. Thanks for coming onto the show. At the Solar Journey, we often speak to people who have been in the solar industry since decades almost, right? Since its early days. And you're a relatively new arrival. What was the opportunity that you saw that drew you to solar?
Thank you, and I'm really glad to be here. And before I start, I would like first to commend everyone which has been, as you say, in the journey before me. And certainly it's because of them that we, the newbies, we are here today. So we are really proud to follow in their path. It's funny you say solar because at Kowry, we like to define ourselves more as a energy solutions provider because
Mhm.
we see solar as a source of energy. Of course, when you operate in sub-Saharan Africa, it's a major source of energy that you have to leverage because it economically makes sense. But we do not dismiss, of course, the other energy source. But clearly, solar is one of our main source of energy. So coming back to your question, why did we, left corporate to go and deliver renewable energy, mainly solar, into sub-Saharan Africa? It's all about business. And when you do business, of course, you have to look at where is a market, where is a need, and do you have the skill and the capability to go and deliver that need? And more importantly, as well, as our generation, are facing a tremendous challenge to ensure the sustainability of the next generation and the planet. Of course, there is, all dots lined up. Then it has to be sub-Saharan Africa. It has to be renewable, and that's the area we've decided to come in and play.
Mm. Was there a special moment where you said, I have to quit my job in the um, fossil fuel industry, burning fossil fuel industry, and then move to solar? Was there a certain moment where you thought, well, I need to make a little sidestep in my career or move it in a different direction?
And it was no, go ahead. No, sorry, it was not really like what a drop moment to say, oh, today I'm stopping everything. I think
Yeah.
with me it was more an iterative process. Two things just step by step creep in and merge. One is obviously, as you just said before, I was in big company. I spent nearly 16 years at Rolls-Royce Group. In different part of the group, I was absolutely happy in that group, and I could have spent my entire career there because I was just literally a fish in the water, doing extremely challenging things, growing every single day. And I think when you grow and been provided with the ability and the space to grow, you just don't see the time going. So two things happen, I think, in parallel. One is I had this continuous challenge by my managers, my teams, and my peers to grow. And one of these challenge was actually from the board to say, well, look, you're a leader in this company, you and your peers, you have to give us as well some ideas, some new innovative ideas in which next business we should be going, in life of, we're a power company at Rolls-Royce.
Mm.
Maybe we do, power for the air, for the land, for the sea. With the capability that we have, what are the next level? What are the next business we should be investing in? So you start thinking about that with other people. putting dots, looking at what's happening at macroeconomic level and what's happening in the world, what are the tendencies, and you start thinking about there is a continent without energy, what technology do we have? So yeah, that is that thinking. That's the one thing that happened over the time. And the second thing is my personal journey. Obviously, I'm Senegalese, I'm French. I was born in Senegal, raised in Gambia and in France, and that did like lots children of immigrants have been doing back and forwards, right? So I always say I won the lottery tickets when my parents moved to France. I had a great education, went to university, had a great job. And when you come back and forwards, you realize there is something different. People your age, your own family. I'm the first generation of family farmers. You see what I mean? That you go to the village and you see, why is it that where I live in Europe and where the rest of my family live in Africa, in Senegal, in this matter in Gambia, where I grew up, there is a significant difference, and you put 1+1 and you realize, well, the development level is not the same. You do your small root cause analysis, and basically, long story short, the development hasn't happened as much in those regions, and the baseline infrastructure for development is energy. So with all of that compute in your head over time, you're like, okay, come a moment, say, okay, what is it actually that I'm doing with my skills? How can I give back where I come from? Is not by sending money every month back home, because that's what we do. We children of immigrants, or all the immigrants, binationals, or whatever you name it, being in Europe. So we are sending remittances, the biggest budget GDPs in Africa. So is it the solution? Obviously, is not how can we contribute through economic development. So the conclusion for me was quite evident over time that I need to use my skill, my experience, my capability through a business, therefore Kowry Energy, and then, to enable people to gain economic sovereignty by increasing their productivity, and that the number one thing you need is energy. That's where we started, basically.
Yeah, wonderful. So you saw the opportunities in solar, and you saw, let's say, the difference in development in Europe and your hometown, your home country.
Yeah.
And you thought, well, let me bring that together with Kowry Energy.
Exactly.
What does Kowry stand for? Can you take us on the explanation?
The name, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I think when I say a cowrie, everyone say, "Oh, what is cowrie?" Because the way we wrote it, but everyone have seen a cowrie. Cowries normally is written with a little c. This has small muscles, right? So now you see them, people wear them as jewels, but then in the days before the time of colonization, Africas were different empires, very, really successful empires. People know about the Manza empires, but it was a trading nation. So people were trading golds and different things. And then the mussel shells, the cowrie shells was the currency.
Okay.
Right. So now I'm sure you are visualizing that shell.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the cowrie shell was the main currency that's extremely valuable. So if you look at the ECOWAS banknote, the CFI, you have that shell in there. It was it was the currency. And if you go up to Asia as well, like in Singapore, you have that the cowrie shell in their banknote. So that was really a really successful continent. And the baseline of that success was trade between different kingdom, different nation, and the cowrie shell was really important. Now, if I translate that into the 21st century, the success of nations and countries is based in economic development, and to have that GDP going up, you need industrialization, you need energy. So we wanted to make the link between that successful past, where trade was based in the cowrie shell, with Kowry Energy, with energy being now the new currency for economic development. That's why we choose the cowrie and then the cowrie shell to make the link from a prosperous past to a prosperous future.
Yeah. Wonderful. Pretty good ambition. Very nice move. So you have a co-founder, Larissa. She helped us in organizing our talk today. So where did you meet? And I understand you both are the founders of Kowry.
Yes.
What was the
I've met,
yeah.
as I was saying, the Kowry journey originated when I was still at Rolls-Royce. So I've had different stations at Rolls-Royce, and that is originated when I was in Rolls-Royce aerospace in Derby with two other people. So David Seddon and Abby Clayton, that I salute. I'm sure they will listen to this podcast. One in nuclear, one in the rotative business. And then I repatriated in Germany to continue the career journey on my own, closer to the power system business, which is the business at Rolls-Royce, which is energy. And that's where I met Larissa. As you know, I mean, she was supporting you with this. She's just an amazing, amazing person. And I think we're just a perfect match because we are 180-degree different and we're just complementary. We're just absolutely complementary, and that's what you need in the co-founder. So it's really, really 1 + 1 = 2. And she was working at Rolls-Royce battery system when I've met her. And then obviously before that, she did a lot in the ecosystem in startup, in the health tech, a lot. So different health tech she worked and founded, and then she left everything as well. So when I've met her, what do you come to do? Explain the career journey within 30 minutes. She's like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Oh.
So a year later, when I'm like, okay, we're ready to go, she dropped us by Rolls-Royce, and then here we go, the two of us. And now obviously there are other people, but that's how Larissa and I decided, okay, she abandoned Rolls-Royce, and then we went and did Kowry.
Excellent. So complementary personalities, skilled, also could be the source of clashes, but how do you handle that? The very different characters.
We've never had a clash. We're complementary because our skill set is so different.
Yeah.
I think one day she put it really nicely, and I like the way she put it. We went to a really small investor people's gathering in Greece, and we were introducing each another to the group. And it was first my turn, so I explained what I do. And then she was right after me, and people ask her, and you, what do you do? And she said, I manage her so that she managed the company well. And that is really, I'm like, that's really synthesize how we work together. So people say, oh, well, because she has this fantastic ability. And in my life, I've met really rare people that she know exactly what is in my brain. In a way, she know how I think, and she help us. We are so complementary in a way that is so natural, right? So that's make us as a company. And when I say us, it's not only her, right? Our head of technical as well is the same, Gaurav, that I mentioned here as well, that everyone know what they do. So we are not working in people's toes. And then responsibility and the accountability is really shared. So an array of responsibility, what she decide, my eyes are closed. I don't ask myself about what decision she make. She doesn't ask herself about the decision I make. And the same in technical, right? We know when they take a decision, that's the right thing. I think sometimes in small company, because you're the founder, everyone expects you to make the decision. That is not how it works as Kowry. And that's something maybe we brought from corporate to say, look, decision making cannot rely on one person because that is extremely dangerous. And for us, it's already in our DNA.
Right. So no, our personality are different, but really complementary. What I mean with that, I can't recall that we have clashes. So I have extremely high, how you call it, risk level tolerance, right? So I go for everything. So she's really good on, okay, let's review that. And I think that what I mean is complementary. I do check risk. I have like a lot of metrics because I'm really analytic. I'm a program manager. I do all my risk. But then maybe I will tend to say, okay, let's go for it anyway. But I know the risk because for me, is the risk. I know the risk. I will go for it and then manage it as I go along. But then having our side, we will weigh in, and now having as well our head of technical. So just last week, for example, we sat together in a meeting saying, hey, there is this customer, this is the opportunity, what do we do? So this is what I put in the table, and then we balance the things together, right? And I think what I wanted to say in that, I think the difference if I see or compare, because we meet other startups, is all of us in our team, we had what I call a corporate experience. And I think that is a massive value from what I see from other small company, because no criticism to smaller or startup as a general rule, but I think there is a way of working that gives us certainly an advantage to be a little bit more efficient in the way we do things. So we have really clearly defined processes as a small company, and we use those processes. We just don't make decision into, we need to move fast, we need to be agile, but we have really clear processes and we really adhere to those processes for a small team,
Yeah.
and that is really important.
Excellent. Yeah. Thanks for that. So, and you're now in the solar sustainable energy business. Of course, you mentioned it's not only solar.
Yeah.
But you made that move into this, let's say, new industry. And what are your impressions of the industry when compared to the, let's say, more established and the corporate environment you worked before?
I must admit, when I came, it was a bit of a shock. What I mean with that, so I was sitting in my lovely corporate, doing some research, doing my other job, saying, okay, so when you're in corporate, there is this bashing about corporate internally. We are not agile enough, we need to be like startup, we need to be faster. Well, I can tell you the tale of all the agile thing and all the innovation we did in corporate. We need to be all like these small companies and doing this and doing that, and everything is faster out there. And particularly in the solar business, because you see the report, there is all this boom and all this innovation, you see these words, and you go into that business, and I hear a lot of buzzword, innovative, smart, and I look at them like, okay, I'm not sure I'm saying that. I'm not sure I'm saying that. So if I take now specifically solar, of course, there are some innovation like digitalization, but that's not specific to solar. I don't see anything specifically digitalized or a specific innovation to solar that solar has brought that is not somewhere else. Yeah. But of course, you have to leverage that what exists and implement it in your business. The main shock I saw for me is that the ability to deliver fast or to the speed that I was expecting, I didn't find it. Right, I found that we have an ability to deliver faster in corporate. And then when I look at it, and that's where actually we as Kowry, we've made, and trying to live to that expectation, we took it as a key for us to say the differentiation for us should be and is our ability to deliver and to deliver fast. And for that, what I see is all about organization as well. It is true, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, it's a tough market, right? It's extremely a tough market because, you've been in Ghana, you've been everywhere. Ghana is not even the worst country or the most challenging rather than worst country. But then infrastructure is not necessarily where we should be. Moving goods are not necessarily where it should be compared to other country, etc., etc. But then program managing a project from A to B, because delivering a system, whether you are doing 100 megawatt or you are doing a solar home system or you're doing a mini grid, for me, it's just a simple program that you manage with the same component, right? The scope is smaller or is bigger, but we see it read as you have to manage the program, it's the same scope, you have to schedule it and you have to run it ABC and nail it. And that sometimes, from what I've seen so far, and again, as you said, we are a small business, so we should take it with a caveat. We are a newbie rather than a small business. We don't have the 10 years of experience. In that side of the things, I has been a bit disappointed compared to what I was expecting when I was coming into the business. So from that side, we take a lot of learning, and it's also reinforced our belief that it's all about managing your program, right? Because the technology itself, for me, is nothing new. So we do system integration. The technology itself is already well defined by technology providers. We all use the same name, we all use the same component. We integrate them in a different way to meet the specific customer need, but it's all about the delivery, and delivery is about project management. Project management. And I hear a lot, and I see those that maybe come out a bit more, have more project management, but the project management of the delivery of those programs, I think that's where maybe company need to get less technician. I think we talk about is technical, and more about, you know, program managing those the delivery of those projects.
Yeah. So that's a super situation for you, right? When you can bring in the skills you have developed at, let's say, corporate and established industry, when you can take that now to solar, to sustainable energy, and to sub-Saharan Africa, where, you know, I think where you can provide a lot of value to your customers. Super. We also like to look back with our guests at how their education led them to where they are today. So you initially studied chemistry, quality management, and business management. So maybe first of all, why did you choose to study chemistry and business management in the first place? And how did you know, basically after school, that that's your thing, right? I think that's a big decision. Basically, everybody has to take. And what was the process like for you?
For me, I always wanted to study technical.
Yeah.
Right. So when I was in France, the school system, you have primary, secondary, then you go to lycée where you do your bachelor. So I don't know, in gymnasium, I think in Germany, it's called. And then when you are in the secondary school, you go to 1 day or 2 day company visit, you know, to have an idea. And I visited a technical workshop in my city town. Dutch, actually, they do PCs, connectors for aerospace and for automobile, you know, actually. And years after, they were my supplier when I was in in business. So I went there, I look at that, I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do. And I want to do technical. And as well, in my city town, Évreux, in Normandy, there was a aerospace base from the military base, BA 105. And there was open days where you can go and look at the planes, and, you know, if you want to go in the military. And I wanted to be a hunter jet pilot as well when I saw that. So it was between those two. So you do your research, you know, which baccalaureate you have to have so that you can do the test and you enter the military. So that was the dominant. And you have to have this baccalaureate E, it was called. It was the toughest one. It's basically math, physics, electronic, technical. So you go to the special gymnasium or the special high school. And this class, everyone wanted to do that. We were only 16 of us. It was 13 boys and 3 girls. And we are still a really close, small team. And we have a WhatsApp group. Everyone in that class wanted to do that because it prepares you to go and do the test and after enter this and etc. Yeah. At the end, maybe one made it to the military. Everyone else is doing different things, IT. And I'm the only one who made it to aerospace in a different way. Some are in finance, etc., etc. So that was my journey to that. And I ended up studying chemistry. But I always wanted to, I did STEM, right? It's called STEM or MINTE in German. Yeah. So that was always clear in my head. And I think it's because as a child, I was just curious. You know, I played with Barbies, but my favorite toy was Optimus Prime from Transformers. Those who don't know, my favorite thing is Optimus Prime. So it's just like in my character, you know. Yeah. So that's how it came. And then when I registered in university, so you have to ask for which university you want before you go to your baccalaureate. And then depending on your result, you have your first choice and etc. There was this one in Toulouse, they have option quality management. The other didn't. And I'm like curious about it. Why do they have this? What is quality management? And the other don't, you know? And it was early days. We're talking in the end of the 90s. I'm like, that's not normal. They have and they don't. So I'm going to put it in my list. Curiosity again. A lot of things I do is always about curiosity. I'm an extremely curious person. And that's how I discover quality management. At the time, there was no curriculum. So it was basically the head of quality, the director of quality of the companies around the universities or in the region that will come and teach us. It was really practical, you know, pragmatic. You will go into their companies and you go look, see, and that was amazing for me, you know. So that's how I discovered that. I fall in love with it. And after all, I went and did the black belt, Lean Six Sigma, which is really process oriented. And I love processes, I love data. And then it continues like that, basically, all through my career.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for outlining that. Wonderful. You just mentioned quality, and in the previous answer, you already touched ground on the what you as a corporate trained person can bring to solar.
Mm-hmm.
So, but let's look at that again. So, quality and durability is of course key to any energy system, particularly also to off-grid solar systems. So, what learnings can you take from jet engines and to the quality of a solar system?
Mm.
Where do you see there's a gap between how you would you expect and what you actually see in the market for these type of systems?
Yeah. I'm so glad you asked this question, because it's a topic that, like, when I hear it, I'm so happy. You don't even know what my body is doing at the moment, because for me, it's so core to everything. You know, quality is the fundament of three things: safety, reliability, customer satisfaction. Right? So if you don't have quality, the customer won't be happy. And that I put it the last thing. But first of all, people say solar. Again, I say energy solution. Particularly now, you have lithium battery in there. It's have a bit of safety issue. People don't never talk about it, but I always think first, the number one thing for me is safety. So if you don't have quality, you will not have safety. If the component is defective, if it's not well installed, if it's not well designed, you will one-to-one affect your safety, you will one-to-one affect your reliability. And then the outcome of that is ultimately customers' dissatisfaction. Now, for me, if you go to business, your only things that you have to care about is a happy customer. Because a happy customer is the one that pay you. There is only one person who pay you in your business. Is not the investor, is the customer. So that's the one that you wake up in the morning to work for. So quality is intrinsically the most important thing you have to care about in your business. So that's why I'm so passionate about it, right? So when I came in the market as well, is in particularly in certain area in Africa, solar has had a really bad name. And we are in business, we have to really bring it back, because most people still believe, and it is changing, because a lot of companies, and that what was commanding those who came before us, has been doing a great job of education. People think, they say, oh, it's solar panel. I take, give me a few solar panel and I have the lights, and of course they get it, it doesn't work. And they're like, oh, solar doesn't work. I'm sure you have had this experience. And we have me, maybe I come after now, I have it easier than those who come maybe 2 or 3 years before me, because they had to face that. People was skeptical about the solution, particularly companies, because, some people flooded the market with cheap solar panels. You install it, and then after a few days, it doesn't work. People don't believe in solar. So it is being changed, the perception step by step. There's still a lot of education to be made. That's why we don't talk about solar. We give you solar energy solution, because it's never a solar panel. We don't install solar panel, right? There is solar, there is inverters, there is lithium batteries. And if you go off-grid into a community, you will have a small genset. So there is an element, there is an integration, there is a reliability and a safety, and there is a quality in it. But that is really important, that we emphasize that the quality is extremely paramount, particularly because in remote area, you cannot afford to have the system failing down. Yeah, these are customers which have a low disposable income. Now, it is extremely, extremely expensive to be poor. People don't know that, but it is expensive to be poor, because if you only have $10, you prioritize to pay you electricity, right? Instead of eating or other basic need, you pay your electricity, and the electricity doesn't work. That is not acceptable. That is absolutely not acceptable. So you have to make sure that you install quality material, you have a quality design, you have a quality system integration, and that you can provide 24 hours at 95% reliability or 99% reliability uptime for that system to work. So that's why I'm so passionate about quality, and you have to make this, you really, really have to guarantee that to your customers. So what we found in the ground is, and you know it and I know it, there is still a long way to go.
Yeah. So how do you adopt the system design in a way to previous designs to ensure this quality, to ensure the customer experience? For example, when I was in Ghana installing tiny small solar systems, one experience was, for example, it was optimized when I was gone, right? Which meant that that it basically failed after a few days, right? For example, they disconnected one of the controllers, etc., right? And it worked better, right? Because the battery could be discharged to a higher level, but then the battery was basically broken. And then it takes you 24 hours to travel there. So basically for a 50-watt system, you can't afford to provide service for that kind of system anymore, right? Nobody pays for that. So the system design, that it stays where it is, like, and maybe even remote service, is that an issue you tackle specifically, or are there other areas that you address to make sure that you have a good solution for particularly rural areas? Yeah.
I really love this question, because you say an important word there, which is remote solution, remote services. There are two elements for my answer to this question. One is, while we can do a lot with system design, there is an education that we have to continue to do, a behavior education to the customer. Yeah, I will start with that first. And we are reckless, or ruthless rather than reckless, excuse my English, ruthless with our customers. We explain how our system works. We explain what we do. When we explain what we do not do and what is their responsibility, and if they trust with it, where our responsibilities stop, right? So when we provide a system, we say we will provide you maintenance as an option, because we hear two things, and that, I think, it has been also a narrative so far to say, well, you install the system, the community can then, you teach them, they can, do the maintenance. I said, the community are not specialists in this. No community is touching my system. I provide the maintenance. If the community or the customer doesn't want me to provide maintenance, I don't have responsibility, I don't have reliability. Yeah. If it doesn't work, do not call me. If you call me, I come, you will pay for it. And you have to say that straight up front.
Yeah.
Right. And then if I provide maintenance, you cannot provide remote maintenance. People need to stop saying, well, I have a gadget, I have something, I have remote monitoring. You have to have people close to your system. Now, I'm with you. You cannot have someone in every single hamlet. You need to be organized. This is energy. Like, I give you an example. You are in Leipzig. If you have a problem with your system, you have a number. They have remote monitoring. They see what is happening, right? They will send someone within 24 hours, within 10 hours, whatever the service level agreement is. That's the kind of direction we should be going in this market. But what we are selling in this market as an industry, particularly to investors and everyone, is, no, we have a remote monitoring system. We are sitting there. We can cut it from the button. We can do this. This is not realistic, and this is not doable. And that is also the reason why the off-grid is not taking off as it should take off. We need to build the footprint. If you want to build a sector, you need to have all the element of the sector. And the key of an industry is not putting an asset underground, is maintaining, operating the asset for 25 years.
Yeah.
And that's why we are really, really clear with our customer to say, this is what you get. This is your O&M contract. We do it. This is how much it costs. But we guarantee, we guarantee you that uptime, because we have it in our hand. If you take it off our hand, you take it off our hands.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, I guess we could have addressed this earlier, but I still want to give you the chance to tell all our listeners what exactly Kowry is doing. So we know it's sustainable energy solutions in sub-Saharan Africa, but let's what's your ideal situation where you say this is the sweet spot? What's your ideal customer or application story where you think this?
Right. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So, you know, say that we use the Kowry as a bridge to say we want to remind the target market, our market, sub-Saharan Africa, of its glorious past, and then they can rebuild the prosperity he had. And the baseline for that is economic development. So the core purpose of Kowry is giving to its customer economic sovereignty. So if I put it in a really simple term, when we deliver a service, there is a before and after in the pocket of our customer. They use our services, they make bottom line improve, right? And then we realize that to do that, the main is energy as an entrant. In the market, the way our energy is an input for us, right? We have the skill to do energy, but is an input to deliver our services. So we have two segments that we deliver: energy services, right? For communities, SMEs, residential, what I call small projects that we aggregate in volume, small project from 3 kilowatt peak to 1 megawatt as a single project. Right, the size of the project, but we never do one single project. We never do 1 3 kilowatt peak. It's always in bulk, right? Because that gives us buying power. We work with technology providers, etc. Right, so that's the target. So we're talking here about residential, about real estate, social, affordable housing. So we're working with real estate developer for social housing that they have straight away solar solution that come in instead of having genset, for example, in certain countries. We're talking about providing energy solution to mechanize the agriculture value chain. That is water solution with solar pumping, that is cold chain solution, negative chambers to freeze the fish, because in whole the coast of Senegal, Guinea, the fish get rotten because there is no cold chain solution. These are positive chambers, so 5 metric ton, 10 metric ton, 20 in containers, solar driven or solar powered, for the fruit and veg, because 50% of the harvest get lost. This is what we call our small solution. Then we work with bigger EPCs, Spanish EPCs, German EPCs, and we are into the larger scale solutions. Then we have several roles there. In that larger scale, we act sometimes as a developer, because then the EPCs do the EPC works, right? So that just has started coming to us now, because people see our industrial capability. They look at our past rather than our Kowry little system to say, hey, you guys have this capability and we have those big projects coming to us. So we've partnered with those EPC, and now we have started as well developing larger scale in collaboration with bigger EPCs, so in the region as well. So 1, 2, 3 megawatts onwards. So we have those two different, but the ultimate simple goal of Kowry is economic sovereignty, using energy as a driver. So there is an after for our customers. They have their bottom line has improved when they use our services. Small project is our core, right? But then we also now do bigger project in partnership with larger scale companies.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks a lot. So the first column you mentioned, that's usually off-grid systems. Is it correct? Yeah.
That's usually because it's the remote area. We have a portion which is on-grid. The portion which is on-grid are basically small SMEs. We are really, this is our target market, the SMEs, because the economy of sub-Saharan Africa are SMEs. Really MSMEs and SMEs. You don't have big. You have few big companies, but the main core of the economy in sub-Saharan Africa are SMEs and MSMEs. And you have another small portion on-grid, which is now ramping up, is how residential and new social housing. So new development, real estate in social housing. But then really the big core is rural, because that's really what we said to do. Productivity in rural area, mechanizing the agriculture value chain with, as I say, cold chain solutions, water pumping solution before we go into mini grids. And that's basically is a change from us, because, you know, you were asking me what was how, when I entered the market, what was the difference, what we thought, what we came in saying, oh, we're going to do mini grids. Yes, we are going to do mini grids. But then we spent a lot of time in the last 12 months just talking to the customers in the ground in different countries, particularly in rural setting, you know, the target, the mini grid customers. The number one thing they've asked us is water and cold chain. It's not electricity in their houses.
All right.
So we shift. So we shifted the priority order based on that customer feedback.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks. You were at Rolls-Royce for almost 15 years. So if you continue Kowry for the same time, what do you hope you will have achieved then?
Oh, it's really simple.
Yeah.
My job is Kowry. Our job is all the people at Kowry today, we know it's really simply. We are putting the foundation so that in 15 years, in your example, there are other people leading Kowry to prepare it for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this continent, these countries in this continent need to have the foundation for a better infrastructure. There is a lot happening, you know, we are not in the negative spin or whatever. There is extremely so much happening, and I'm glad you give us the opportunity to raise our voice, but there are other things happening, other colleagues doing a great job, local companies, international companies. So the future is certainly here and also other parts of the world. But Kowry is not about, you know, we're going to IPO, we're going to do this. We have 5 values that we have this set up in Kowry. We set up the values of Kowry before even we go after the customer. One of the value of Kowry is sustainability. Now, if you ask people about sustainability, they will say, you know, rescue the planet, go green, go solar. No, the sentence for us is in 50 years, the Kowry team will be serving the grandchildren of the customer that we are serving today. That's our definition of sustainability. That's what we are setting Kowry to do. So in 15 years, right? So Kowry, the Kowry team in there will be sitting in the podcast saying, well, this is the plan for the next 50 years so that Kowry in 15 years will be serving other customers. That's what I have to achieve. That's my mission for Kowry. Nothing else, nothing more.
Excellent. So we have another date with you or someone else, the new CEO, in 15 years from now.
If it's me, then I failed. It has to be someone else. Definitely will be someone else. It won't be me.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your
so much, Kowry. Thank you,
journey. It's been a pleasure to get a small glimpse, very detailed, but detailed glimpse into sub-Saharan Africa. I mentioned to you previously, I was there for a year in Ghana, and it's wonderful that things are developing, and it seems I'm super happy that you take on the task to do that with your experience from corporate companies, and hopefully bring sustainable energy solutions to this area. Thanks so much. All the best for you and your team. Thanks, Ndiarka.
Thank you. It was a great pleasure, and thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you very much.